All right, let me know if you can chat. Excuse me. Let me know if you can hear me in the chats. What's going on, guys? We have about an hour left of RTH. For ES specifically, I think just another very easy read today. Very easy. But before we jump into ES, we're going to talk a little bit about the weekly options premium harvesting. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to shoot them at me. As you guys know, I am a futures specialist. I am specifically an ES and MES specialist. So now that I feel like I've mastered this instrument, it's time for me to look into other markets and to extend my toolbox. I tell you guys this all the time, right? Focus on one thing at a time and then continue to add things to your toolbox. Continue to add things to your toolbox. Use this analogy, use this comparison as an example. The greatest chefs in the world, they did not do everything at once. They took it one step at a time. They focused on baking and then they focused on their knife skills, and they just took it one step at a time. It's the same thing with futures. There's so many things to do, there's so many instruments, and to be a true professional you have to take advantage of all the instruments. But if you do them all at once, you're going to get lost in the sauce and you're probably just going to lose your capital too fast. I'm looking forward to knowing more about premium selling. Yes, me as well. Essentially, what our goal is to look into stocks now for premium selling. So as you guys know, Rich has been primarily focusing on the S&P 500 with his 50 futures contracts. But now we're going to be looking into shares and we're going to be looking into stocks. We're going to be looking into the Magnificent Seven. Things like Tesla, right? Things like Tesla that have been paying off so well. Things like UNH that have been paying off so well. If we are to look to add to these positions in the future, then why don't we just sell premiums as well? Why don't we just collect those premiums as well, right? And if you're a contextual analyst like myself, I honestly believe that you can have a near 100% win rate easily by selling premiums. Obviously, the money that you will be generating is not going to be too life changing or anything, but it is easy income, weekly income, and it's money that's why would you refuse, right? I feel like it's free money at the end of the day, right? And if we want to put ourselves in the shoes of institutions, let's say you only make 5 to 10% of your portfolio selling options. If you put yourself in the shoes of institution, if 5 to 10% of your portfolio, let's say that's $50 million, you're going to be making 1 to 5 million just by doing nothing essentially. So we want to put ourselves in the perspective and the shoes of institutions. That's how we trade the markets. That's what I do with ES, and that's what we're going to start doing with stocks as well. Adding more tools to my toolbox. If I say to myself that I want to reload Tesla at the original breakout zone, either 368 or 350, then I might as well sell some puts if I am to be assigned. That's where I wanted to reload this long-term position regardless, right? While most are at all-time high, I feel like buying the quality dip takes time, and having a variety of income streams is good for us in this program. Yes, yes, but obviously you need capital. You need a good amount of capital to be able to do this, especially with option selling. So just really take it one step at a time, build it up slowly. Only one who can't hear, I believe Angela can hear and everybody else can hear. So make sure your audio is connected. But yeah, it's definitely something to add to the variety of income. And I think variety is really important in the market, right? But there's a very fine line though. There's a very fine line between people that try to do everything to get rich overnight and then people that do everything because they understand how to do everything. Usually only the veterans and the pro traders can do that, right? So take it one step at a time. Focus on something and then go on and to the next, to the next, to the next. My journey is a phenomenal example. It took me a few years to be really comfortable with ES. It took me a few years to manage my psychology with ES. But now that I have done that, now that I'm completely satisfied and completely comfortable, I'm moving on to the next steps. I'm moving on and adding another chapter in my trading journey, and I'm adding additional streams of income, right? But cash is king. At the end of the day, cash is king. Without cash, we can't do anything. And without cash, there is no market. So cash is king. Make sure you guys have cash and you have cash that you're willing to lose. Obviously, if you're selling options, you're probably not going to lose that much, if any, but you still need cash regardless, right? So if you guys have more questions about the option selling, I'll tell you the game plan right now. We're going to be picking a few tickers a week. We're going to be focusing on the Magnificent Seven. And straight up, we're just looking to make a few $100 a week. A passive income that we can use on our family, income that we can use on bills, income that we can use on gas. The economy is not going to get better, I don't feel. So we have to essentially make more money, and passive income is the key to financial freedom, right? It's passive money, making money while you sleep. That's why the stock market is one of the greatest, if not the greatest game on this planet. It unlocks financial freedom, in which option selling is going to be a part of accessing financial freedom. And the more capital you have, the more money you'll make. Simple. Every weekend, in addition to the Saturday Blueprint, we'll be posting the realized premiums. As you know, Rich on Friday, he does realize some premiums. And now that we're adding stocks to the game plan, not just the S&P 500, there's going to be a good amount of premiums collected each week. And as you guys know, with me, contextual analyst, I know when the market, based on purely the price action and the structures of the chart, I know when we're more likely to get assigned versus when we're not likely to get assigned. Today and yesterday, there's almost a 99.9% chance that you will not get assigned on a 3%, 5% dip. So pretty much a 99.9% chance that that won't happen. So any premiums you collect today is essentially free money, free cash in your account for absolutely nothing, right? It's just simple parameters that a lot of people don't understand. And we will understand it to get the free money in our back pocket. Do you not get assigned when trading spreads? So that's a good question. And definitely reach out to Rich. Rich is better with the whole ordeal with spreads and all that good stuff. For me, I'm just primarily focused on selling puts with these stocks and obviously with the S&P 500 as well. So I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. Let's use Tesla as an example here. As you guys know, we bought Tesla around 343 and 350 was the breakout pivot, in which 368 was confirmation of the breakout. So let's say I want to reload on Tesla. Let's say I want to use last week's low to high as my retracements, and I want to use the 618 or I want to use the 786 as my retracement level. If I know that I'm going to buy Tesla at 361, 368, or 375 or lower at 343 again to hold for a long-term investment, because this is one of the Magnificent Seven tickers, why wouldn't I just sell puts regardless, right? I'm going to buy those shares down there anyways. So I may as well just apply the external context of this ticker right now and collect the free premium, right? I may as well do that. We know that after a 1, 2, 3 breakout trend, that the ticker is likely to enter a phase of consolidation, even if it's just for one day. And that is what we want to use as an edge. That's what we want to use to our advantage. And ES today and yesterday has a 99.9% chance to not print a 1 to 2% dip, purely based on the fact that we're heading into FOMC tomorrow. So you guys can see where I'm getting at here, right? It's a bonus part of our edge. It's a bonus for our contextual analysis. And it's something that institutions do every single day, because institutions have so much money that they need these 80, 90, almost 100% win rate strategies to just print an insane amount of cash. Obviously, they have their algorithms as well. Obviously, they have the real-time traders that are doing the same thing that we're doing. But I think that option premium bonus edge is something that can honestly change your life. If it could pay your bills, that's life-changing, guys. That's financial freedom. Straight up. That's what financial freedom means. And that's what the stock market is. That's why we're here. If we're not here for financial freedom, then what's the point? Right? What's the point? Anyways, guys, if you have any more questions, comments, concerns about the option selling, you can let me know. It is going to be a weekly thing in which every weekend, similar to the blueprint report. We will be making a report, a document of what's happening, what happened throughout the week, what's the contextual analysis of the tickers that we're interested in, and we're only going to stay focused on the Magnificent Seven for now. Only the Magnificent Seven for now. These big boys, right? Tesla, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix, things like that, right? Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump into the after hours recap for today. ES, the S&P 500, the futures contract. Definitely scroll up in the chat, in the live stream chat, and take a look at the pre-market, guide that I have here, right? So let's just quickly look at it. So first of all, slow grind continues above all-time high. We know that, 66.96. Holding above the 66.82 breakout structure showcases zero volatility, but this previous day's low here takes the most precedence because yesterday's low must break down for any sign of important volatility. And then we're going to watch for range exhaustion / false breakdown considering FOMC parameters tomorrow. And when you look at that, false breakdown of the previous day's low, classic stuff. It's a low quality setup because let's measure it. It is only 34 points from the highs, but if you apply the external context, like I talked about in that chart, the fact that we're heading into FOMC tomorrow, it could easily be a spot for literally the range to be capped. And that's what we talked about in the pre-market notes. So no change from yesterday, but let's see if the 8:30 a.m. news changes anything structurally, which it didn't. Bullish time frame continues until last Friday's low breaks down. Getting back below last week's high, 66.62 is a start. Yesterday's low is housed here. This has been one of the most intense rallies of the year, so we're expecting an intense pullback eventually as well. I'm writing this before the pre-market news. First of all, Bulls have remained secure in the driver's seat since September 2nd. There has not been structural damage to this insane multi-week trend. Bullish timeframe alignment will remain in play so long as a prior day low holds. Yesterday's low is obviously step number one for sellers at 66.6325, although there are better supports to finally conclude this insane trend on all time frames. FOMC tomorrow, let's see if price continues to digest above a previous day's low and then slow grind higher. And that's it for today. So bulls want to hold above Monday's low, 66.6275, to sustain immediate control. Holding above Monday's high, 66.81, showcases zero volatility for more all-time highs. And this is a key part of the notes today. Remember, if supports are to fail, they must flip into resistance. If they are not flipping into resistance, then we can assume that sellers are not breaking down the support. Quickly, important supports for today, 66.54, 66.62. This marks yesterday's low, 66.6325, and last Thursday's high, which is a breakout trigger from yesterday. This is the immediate support for today. Watch for a false breakdown if the market is not to be volatile, similar to yesterday as we await FOMC. So with that context in mind, FOMC is tomorrow. Price action likely to be not volatile today. And we know that bulls sustaining the immediate support, which would be the prior day's low, keeps them securely in the driver's seats. That's pretty much all of the information. That's all of the context that you need to trade this false breakdown, but it has to be a part of your trade plan. If you know that you're not interested in low quality setups, if you know that you're not interested to trade an extremely low volatile day heading into FOMC tomorrow, then this is obviously not a setup that you have to take. Let's just quickly measure how much points price action has produced so far. So price action has produced 27 points, which is about 50% of the average maximum, a little bit less than 50%, actually more than less than 50%, but that being said, if you want to participate today, there's a setup. There's the false breakdown of the prior day's low. But if this is a day that's something you want to avoid based on the context, you avoid it. If it's not, take the setup. What's the entry model? The entry model here is quite simple. You can take the false breakdown in itself. We didn't really retrace back to 66.62 for the Fibonacci trap, but I still think the Fibonacci trap presented itself nonetheless. Right there. So you just want to get filled as close to 66.62 as possible. And the Fibonacci trap printed right around the 618. right around the first hour low, right? Yeah, exactly. So the first hour low is something that you always want to mark on your chart if you're day trading. So we printed a false breakdown of the first hour low in addition to the Monday low, which is a more significant support. And then you have the Fibonacci trap printed here using the first hour low, right? So you have the Fibonacci trap entry model, you have the false breakdown entry model. Let's draw the position tool. Let's say you took the first hour low, stop loss behind the low. It's only about a 5-point stop loss. And this one is fairly decent risk to reward, fairly decent. But again, you have to be able to write down these levels. You have to be able to write this down in your trade plan, or the trade is just purely hindsight. It's just purely something you took because you felt like taking it. This has to be in your trade plan. And it's not difficult to write this in your trade plan if you want it to trade it, expecting a bullish day, expecting a low volatile day, right? We have it all outlined in the structure notes. We have it all outlined in the context. And all you have to do is say to yourself, I know that the market today can be lackluster volatility wise, and I will play the false breakdown of yesterday's low, considering bulls are likely to remain in the driver's seats off of low volatility and bullish time frame alignment. My entry model will be the false breakdown, or you can use the predetermined setup or the Fibonacci trap. And that's literally as simple as trading needs to be. Follow this plan, follow the risk to reward, follow the entry model, turn your brain off, and come back for the next day. What's a good account size when combining all the strategies? For futures, I will say a good account size is between 5 to 10,000 to start with. That will take care of margin fairly easily with interactive brokers. Anything above 10K is your sweet spot, I would say. Right? It's an expensive world nowadays, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And that's it for today, guys. Very simple day. As you guys know with me, I don't take these setups anymore. I don't take longs so close to all-time high, regardless of the external context. I don't trade all the way up here. I wait for macro dips. I wait for price action to enter the macro higher time frame, high quality lows of interest. 65.47 is the first one, and literally what I'm going to be doing is I'll probably just buy this level straight up with a 20-point stop loss, and I'll be hunting a return back to the breakdown trigger, which would be somewhere around there, the line in the sand, or even Wednesday's low, right around 3R. And that's the trade. It's going to be written in my trade plan every single day. And then when volatility does return and the market does pull back on the higher time frame, I will be ready to buy the dip with the rest of the institutions. Let's see if that happens tomorrow. We have FOMC tomorrow in the afternoon, so expect another extremely choppy and digestive morning session heading into the FOMC event. And then when the FOMC event comes around, make sure you have your targets in, your stop loss in. Make sure you're managing yourself psychologically, because if you take a loser, you don't want that loser to turn into a bag hold and you blow up your account. You don't want that loser to turn into 5 losers because you're trading the same support that's now resistance, something like that. Make sure you know what you're doing and make sure you execute consistently and smart, right? FOMC, it could either be a chop fest. We can go up 300 points. We can go down 300 points. The market can crash. The market can continue to rally. Who knows? Who cares? We have to adapt. We have to react. And we have to be proactive. That's pretty much it. That's our job as a trader. And as a job as your trader, know your job description. What do you actually want to do in the markets? Write it down. Write it down on a piece of paper. Write it down on your phone. Write it down on your wall with some paint. What's your job description as a trader? For me, I am a hybrid day swing trader. I look to the macro high time frame, low high quality levels of interest in which I am applying my entry models, the false breakdown, predetermined entry, or the Fibonacci trap. That's it. That's all that I do. And we're going to be using stocks now for options selling. We call it weekly premium harvesting. We're going to be using stocks now to sell options instead of just the S&P 500. Look forward to this stuff. This is fairly brand new, so all of the content we'll be producing is going to be brand new, very high quality, fantastic content to read up on every day, and of course every weekend as well. That being said, I want to talk a little bit about the power of AI, because don't get left behind, guys. I use ChatGPT every single day. Don't get left behind. Make sure you master this thing, because I truly do feel like the next 10, 15 years, everything is going to look very different. AI is just going to get better and better and better, and we cannot get left behind. As a trader, you can use AI very, very easily. I literally learned the other day that you can send ChatGPT a screenshot and you can tell it to do whatever with that screenshot and it will create something. So let's say, for example, in your journal, you have your spreadsheet. In your journal, you have your spreadsheet. You have the date, your trade, you have the risk reward, and your P&L. Let's say you have 3 months of data. You can send that screenshot to ChatGPT and it will split up each month. It will show you your win rate. It will show you X, Y, and Z, and you don't have to do these things manually anymore. So make sure you guys are using ChatGPT. Make sure you guys are using AI. Teach it to your kids. Don't get left behind. The world is going to be changing, and we have to adapt with it, or we will simply just get left behind, right? So AI is key. Let's go ahead and read a little bit of our book, and we'll wrap it up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can let me know. My system is very simple. I'm a macro time frame trader with ES. I look to make 6 to 10R on a single trade, and I literally just vanish from the market until we get another macro dip. And I'm going to start doing these option sellings as well with Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, the Magnificent Seven, right? It's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be a great system, great process. The process is already there, right? Process is here every single day. My trade plan, all of my notes, the higher time frame analysis every single day. The process is elite. Elite. That's why I always tell you guys, make sure you're following along with the process. The process is what sets your mind up for success. You do not want to get lost. You don't want to hesitate, and you especially don't want to confuse yourself on what your job description is as a trader in the markets, right? So let's keep this chart open. Let's watch this false breakdown in action. It's a very classic false breakdown today. Even if you want to take it for a little scalp, that's up to you. I believe we are on page 171. Let me double check. Yes, we are. Alrighty, before we jump into the book, I'm very grateful for everybody tuning in. This journey is not possible without the Trading Wars community. I would have given up a long time ago. So without you guys, none of this is possible, and I will forever be grateful. That's why Rich and I, we really pride ourselves in being better and just trying to add value every single day. And we always try to refine. There's always something to do. There's always something better to add. And there's always a changing market. There's always a new market as well, like AI, for example. Who knows when the next market leader is going to come? I think Nvidia will probably be the market leader for years to come, but you never know, right? Especially with AI, the whole world can flip on its head, and we have to be ready. We have to adapt. We have to be better. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on how I'm using AI in my trading, and I'm definitely going to keep you guys updated on what additions I'm using to my trading, essentially, right? Alrighty. So we are on page 171 of Best Loser Wins. Now's your time to bring out the book if you want to follow along with the reading. The Drifter Mind. How our mind works is fascinating. The brain can be our best friend or our worst enemy. When I gave talks in public, my own life mantra is written on virtually every PowerPoint page of any presentation I gave. Control your mind, control your future. You have to want to do what you do. You can't live a life that is you can live a life that is authentic to your soul, or you can live the life you think people want you to live. You can be authentic and own your life and take responsibility for everything you do. If you don't take ownership of your life, You are not the boss. You have to take full responsibility for everything that you do. Why would you live life any other way? Why be subservient? You must be the master of your own kingdom. But brace yourself, you will be forced to make many difficult decisions, and you cannot count on your mind to back you up if your determination wanders a little. You can't just walk through your life with your eyes half open. You have to know where you are going. You have to take possession of your life. It would be nice if you could rely on your friends and family, but when it comes to your life's journey, you are on your own. It is your responsibility. Part of the journey, including your trading journey, is to discover your weakness. You have to know where your mind lets you down. For the vast majority of people in the world, this will include their mind's tendency to wander. You see, all of us know what to do. All of us have the knowledge to do what needs to be done, but the path from knowledge to action, where we implement our knowledge, is elusive for many people in many areas of their lives. Your mind will drift. This is unfortunate but perfectly natural. The solution is trivial and it is powerful. You have to constantly reaffirm your purpose. Whether you meditate or talk to yourself while you brush your teeth in the morning, there needs to be some period in your day when you remember your purpose. There must be a time to remind yourself where you want to go and what you want to do. So, what I do, the best time to do this, the best time to do any affirmation or reaffirmation is before you go to bed. Before you go to bed, before you fall asleep, think about the next day, the day after, the year after, the year after that, and reaffirm what you actually want to do. What's your goals, whether it's trading, whether it's life, health, relationships, just making yourself better in general. Remind yourself of your goals every single night before you sleep, even the nights where you spend too much time out on Friday nights, always. One thing I can't always rely on is my ability to act in my own best self-interest. My mind needs constant guidance and direction. I don't know why that is, but it is. I suspect the majority of the population of the planet is put together like I am. They just haven't realized it yet. So they drift through life rather than taking charge. This doesn't mean they can't be financially successful, but wouldn't it be nice to be both financially and spiritually fulfilled? Your job, after all, is that thing that most. Your job, after all, is that thing that you do the most outside of sleeping. I am a professional trader. I cannot afford to go into the trading ring without being 100% mentally prepared. My profession is a mind game like nothing else. If I want to win, I have to focus on what is important now. So Ed Seikoda was right, much to my chagrin. I did get what I deserved because I was only good at one part of the game. I was good at the technical parts. I don't like this metaphor, but being good at the technical part of trading is like being good at putting together a sniper rifle. What good does that do when you go into combat and you don't know how to handle yourself? I actively take control of my inner world. I have to give myself enough confidence to reassure myself that I have enough to go out and kick ass in the markets every day. To make that challenge even more real, I post my trades for the world to see. I have never consciously thought about why I do that until someone recently asked me. I realized that I do it because it keeps me accountable. It keeps me focused. I have been as lost as they come. I tell you that not to inspire you to get lost, nor to evoke sympathy, nor to tell a tale of rags to riches, but to make sure you understand that exposing your weakness will be a good thing. Your mind is a tool. If you let it delude you into thinking all is well, you will not get the success you want in trading or in life. Losing and failing might be a knock to the ego, but it is rocket fuel for growth. It sounds like I am trying to write a self-help manual for procrastination, a best-selling inspirational book, but I am describing honesty. When you are honest with yourself, in the company of yourself, or on a podium in front of 40 alcoholics, wherever the setting may be, you just took a step that 99% of the population don't ever contemplate taking. You already started the journey to winning. So, the journey starts with technical knowledge acquisition and continues indefinitely with the constant evolution of both the technical and mental training. Technical training is a part of my day-to-day job, but the mental job puts needs put part but the mental part needs more dedicated focus. Otherwise, it gets lost in the noise of the outside world. I need dedicated time to give that brain of mine a workout. I want to show you one of the mental warm-ups images that I go through before the trading day starts. It gives me the visual evidence I need to act in a manner that is aligned with what I am trying to achieve. This example happened a while ago, but it could happen any day of the week if I don't mentally prepare myself. Figure 23 tells the tale in all of its glory. I short a double top off the open. I am so certain that my research is right. The markets will fall. I don't have a problem with the first short position. I have a problem with the 4 subsequent ones. I could even forgive myself for the last one because at least I am shorting weakness. This is unconstructed and undisciplined trading. I don't care how certain I am of something happening. If it isn't happening, don't pursue it don't pursue it as if it is. Showing you is so embarrassing. This is part of my preparation. It has been the most useful tool to build mental stamina and discipline. It reminds me of everything that is weak in me. It reminds me of how my mind, if felt unchecked and untrained, will go on a rampage to seek excitement and gratification. One of the best ways to increase profits is to use goal setting and visualizations to align the conscious and subconscious with making profits. I use fear to achieve my goals. I imagine trading a size with even in my mind makes me uncomfortable. I sit quietly in my bed or in my office. The world is quiet, and if it isn't, I stick a pair of earplugs in my ears. I imagine I am trading and the market is moving against me. I see myself cut the loss. I imagine I bought the XYZ and I see it going my way. I felt the brain sending me signals to close the position to crystallize the profits. I see myself doing nothing as I continue to watch the profits increase and decrease. I see a big profit turn into a small profit. I smile and accept it, and I move on, telling myself it is okay. I place my brain under as much stress as I can with imagined scenarios. I am long the market. I am long and the market is going my way, and a sudden news story breaks the market. So if any of you guys are interested on where, by the way, it's not the book, this is me. If you guys are interested on where he got this exercise from, I'm pretty sure he did not. He probably got it from somebody else. Read a book called Think and Grow Rich. That is probably the best financial book you will ever read, or anybody will ever read on this planet. And he teaches you something called visualization, and that's exactly what Tom Hugard is doing. So search that up. Ask ChatGPT. Read the book. It's one of the most powerful things in the world, if not the most powerful thing in the world. And I definitely owe a lot of my success to that mental training. I observe my fear shooting through the roof as my P&L turns into a bloodbath. I see myself closing the positions and going in the opposite direction. I see myself not getting unhinged just because the market is moving against me. I cannot guarantee that this approach will work for everyone. Perhaps you think it is brilliant, or at least could be useful after a few personal tweaks. It works for me because I learn visually. I get the message when I see it visually. If you tell me not to trade against the trend, it will not mean any more to me than when a cat meows. But show me a chart with my trades plotted on, with me trading against the trend. Better yet, show me repeatedly, and I get the message. This is my therapy. This is like seeing a psychologist every morning. I get fired up. The therapist expands my mind and my horizon. The goal is to remind myself of what behavior I want to enact. It is about making changes and keeping the changes. So, what makes me think this will work for you? Behavioral is patterned. Behavior is patterned. How we think, feel, and act has a pattern to it, and that patterning is what makes us who we are. The sum total of our patterns is our personality. Sometimes our patterns interfere with our goals and dreams in life. They prevent us from being who we want to be or accomplishing what we want to accomplish. We are sometimes our own worst enemy, and we seemingly can't stop ourselves when we are in the moment. A person who can know very well that they have anger issues and yet be unable to prevent themselves from lashing out. Another might have eating issues and yet can't exercise the needed restraint in the moment of eating. A trader is fighting the trend all day and his account is suffering, but he can't stop himself. He is simply incapable of turning his position and trade in the direction of the trend. Only afterwards is he disgusted with himself. So I'm sure we've all done that before. The purpose of my warm up is not to take away everything that is bad in our lives in one swift move. The purpose is not to guarantee I won't mess up. The purpose is to focus on what I want to achieve or become while being mindful of the things that will most certainly sabotage my goals. The wonderful part is that I am almost certainly guaranteed success if I avoid these failures. I was guaranteed success with my weight goal if I could cut out all the Coca-Cola I drank. I just had to be mindful of that, and the pounds began to come off if I didn't have to do anything else. The pounds began to come off, I didn't have to do anything else. I don't have to be certain that my trade is going to work out. I just have to be aware that my mind wants to do the things that are not in my own best interest. So I don't add to my losing trades. That in itself means I just need to be mindful of the one variable I can control. My action in the morning is about changing the patterns that do not serve me. This started by observing another very successful trader and asking myself what was holding me back from becoming him. My technical abilities were just as good as his. I don't think he was financially much better off than I was, but he was seemingly fearless. How could I become fearless in trading? Did I even want to be fearless? I came to the conclusion that the trader I wanted to become was patient but aggressive when the time was right. It was like Federer playing in the Wimbledon final in 2007. He was patient until just the right moment and then played with focused aggression. After that, it was a question of reminding myself of the goal every day and several times a day if necessary. That is how habits are built through repetition. As I grow wiser to the ways of life, I realize that there is a lot of truth to John Lennon's words. Life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. We become so engaged in our day to day life with responsibilities at work and home that the big picture of our lives stay in the background. Excuse me. Day after day, year after year, we busy ourselves with work and routines, only to realize later in life that opportunities have passed us by. So, the first question to address in a change process is what do you want to change? Or, stated otherwise, how would you like your life to be different? My answer, I want to dedicate time to trading well, to combat my natural inclinations that stand between me and successful trading. I want to prepare my mind every morning through a series of meditations and visual exercises. To achieve this, I will train my mind to act calmly through visualizing myself in different situations and difficult situations. I will focus on my breath. I will calmly put myself through stressful situations to ensure I would react how I want to react if the circumstances were real. Making changes entails far more than simply engaging in positive thinking or getting positive images in your head. I didn't want positive images. I wanted a portrait of the dire hell I would reside in if I didn't change. This may seem like a negative state of being, but it really isn't. It is immensely positive, albeit a rather tense way of getting what you want. As the saying goes, the end justifies the means. I have turned conventional thinking on its head. I do so because I know what compels me more. Roses don't compel me, thorns compel me to action. Consider the market itself. It is not so unlike us in its behavior because we are the market. It climbs the wall of worry, but it slides down the slope of hope. It might be a Wall Street saying, but it says a whole lot more about humans than it says about the markets. All I have to do, all I have done is used fear and disgust as my protagonist, my major motivator. Nice. So he basically confirmed what I always say, is that humans create the markets. The market is not anything extraterrestrial. So let's go ahead and write down this page, 179. Ready. So that's an absolutely phenomenal book. As you guys know, with me, I am very, very, very blessed in this life to have some extremely successful mentors. As you guys know, Rich is an extremely successful trader. So I can understand from a personal perspective pretty much everything that this book is talking about as it pertains to financial success. And one thing that I learned throughout my young years in the markets and my young years in life in general, outside of school and curriculum, is that money is actually not made through action, but it's made through value. It's how you add value to yourself, your friends, your community, things like that. How you add value, especially to yourself, it goes a very long way. Because at the end of the day, everything as it pertains to money is just psychology. Thank you so much for listening. 20 minutes until the close. The market is just extremely choppy as it awaits FOMC. No surprise, we planned this out since Saturday. And we will be back tomorrow. I will not be live tomorrow at 3 p.m. I will be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Let's see if FOMC can do the job. Let's see if FOMC can finally get this market to pull back. Hopefully, we could see a 2% dip. I pray that we see a 2% dip because this 2-week rally is just absolutely nuts. I honestly don't care too much about the 2-week rally, but I really would like to get a trade to get some content for you guys. Get a new document analysis going, some new videos going, the entry models, showcase all that good stuff. It would be awesome to get a trade. But we'll remain patient. We'll sit on my hands, and I will wait for the next macro dip. If you guys have more questions about the option selling that we're doing on the Magnificent 7, please reach out to myself or Rich. And people that are still holding this Tesla position, let's see if we can break out to all-time high by the end of this year. That would be absolutely phenomenal. That would be at least a 50% hitter in my small stocks portfolio. Absolutely amazing stuff. And other than that, super grateful for everybody tuning in today. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you next time. Avoid the scammers. If you need a one-on-one or anything like that, reach out to Rich or myself. You can email us or just contact us directly in the Discord. I could yap for ages, but I'm going to stop yapping now. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.